Welcome back to the LionHeart podcast, where we learn to have a heart of a lion in this jungle we call life. Back at it again, another one after a long hiatus, once again as always. But I promise this time around, I know I've said this every single time, but I actually am going to start being more consistent with these. It's a goal of mine that I set recently, because the whole purpose of this podcast, I want you guys to be able to kind of grow with me, right? So I'm still a young man myself. I'm only 24 years old. I turn 25 later this year. And I'm still honestly figuring things out on my journey and keep on going of improvement, right? So with that being said, my whole goal with this in the first place is to be able to help young men around the ages of 16 to 24, around that time, to really be able to take everything that I have learned and be able to institute it into their lives so that so that you guys don't have to make the same mistakes that I've made, right? Because am I exactly where I want to be? Not even close, right? I still have a long way to go, but that's the whole purpose of this podcast. I want this to be all about leveling up. Everybody that listens to this, I want you guys to be able to level up every single time you listen to another podcast of this one. So, like I said, once again, thank you for listening to the LionHeart podcast. We're back at it, and if you're a returning listener, I appreciate it. I know these things come far and few between, but I'm telling you right now, my commitment, and I'm saying it right here, a goal of mine is these are going to be coming out every single week from now on. And I don't know what the episode is. Like I said, it's about self-improvement, but I'm just going to kind of be taking you guys through my journey of self-improvement and telling you guys the things that I'm learning along the way and figuring out. So I don't know exactly what I'm calling this now. I had some title ideas here. I don't know which one I'm going to use yet, but we'll see what happens. But basically, this one might be a little bit shorter, but I just want to go over life changes, right? Life changes. I don't even remember the last time I did one of these, if I'm being 100% honest, but I know that I was probably in a little bit of a different circumstance then than I am now. So to be completely honest, right now is like a little bit of a rough part of my life with everything that's going on with me. But at the end of the day, you got to get through it, right? As a man, when tough things are handed to you, I always say that that's when the strongest men are made, when troubles are handed to you. So you got to figure it out, right? As a man, you don't really have much room to just kind of, I don't know what the word is, dwindle or not do anything about it. You got to figure things out, right? So with that being said, I was able to create some goals recently to really just look back over on my life and revisit some things, establish some good habits that I had lost in the past and everything. And honestly, it's a big switch. It's a mental switch that I had to make, because the mentality that I was in I would say even a week or two ago, like this is very recent that I had to put all this into play. But it's a big difference, and it makes a big difference when it comes to being able to level up and being able to do what you say you're going to do. So for the longest time, I feel like one of my biggest issues was not committing to what I said I was going to commit to, right? A lot of the times I would do something for a short amount of time and then I wouldn't stay committed to it. Or I would tell everybody that I'm going to do one thing and then I never stay committed to it. This is a big issue and this is a big problem, because not only are you lying to people, but you're lying to yourself about everything that you're doing. And that was a big thing that I did for a long time, even up to recently, if I'm being 100% honest. I'm going to keep it real with this. All right, I'm not perfect. Even though I'm making a self-help and like a leveling up podcast, that doesn't mean that I'm perfect. There's a lot that I'm working on, a lot that I have to figure out. But with that being said, all I'm doing is trying to establish good habits in my life once again and figuring out. And one thing that I established big time once again, and I've been consistent with it, is being in the gym, right? And I've been consistent again. I was very inconsistent. I was still going to the gym, but I was very inconsistent at the times I was going for a little while. But for the past 2 weeks, I've been on point, right? I've established a new diet, and not even to call it diet, just a new lifestyle, like a new way of being able to approach and eat my meals, to where I'm not going to be eating a ridiculous amount of calories and putting on weight, but at the same time I can eat what I want. So the way that I do that is I've been fasting up until lunchtime, or even up to 2, sometimes 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I fast up until that time, and then I have a small meal right there, and then from there my meals after can just kind of come along. And because one of my goals as well right now is to kind of lean down, because I was kind of a bulking phase a little bit for a little while, and I kind of put on a little bit of weight that I don't want. So now I've established that lifestyle, which I'm going to be following probably for the rest of my life because it just works. Like, even the way that I'm doing it, I can eat whatever I want throughout the day. I just got to make sure that it fits within what I'm doing. So, like, for example, if I know I'm going to eat a big meal at nighttime that's going to be a lot of calories and everything, then I can plan accordingly throughout the rest of the day up until that point. So I've just kind of learned finding ways to be able to do that, and I'm starting to see a little bit of result. Obviously, it's going to take time. I'm not trying to like shed weight super quick. I'm trying to do it in a healthy way and also put on a lot of muscle at the same time. So I've been doing that. That's one thing, and also being just consistent in the gym, lifting. I'm trying to put on muscle as well. So I'm trying to lose a little bit of fat that I'm having, shed that off, and then I'm also trying to put on muscle at the same time. So I'm at a calorie deficit. I'm staying within that range, but I'm not too much of where I'm not going to be able to put on any muscle. So I'm just trying to shed weight little by little. I'm not trying to go crazy. And hopefully by the middle of this year, we'll see where I'm at by that point. But with that being said, and then also, like I said, being consistent in the gym, lifting, pushing myself and pushing limits when I'm in the gym and stuff. And I've noticed that that's helped me even mentally with everything else that I'm doing, because I have other ambitions and other things that I'm working on as well that I'm doing behind the scenes along with my regular day job as well. So it's just a lot of stuff going on at the same time. But one thing that I did realize as of recent, and this is thanks to, I've heard about him recently, but like I never really dove and looked into his stuff. But what's his name? Alex Hormozi? I think that's what his name is. I'm pretty sure that's what his name is. Hormozi is definitely the right name. I hope I got the first name right. But anyways, and watching one of his I don't know what you call it, lectures or something that he was presenting in front of a group of people, and I watched it recently, and it was about business and everything, and it kind of changed my mentality a little bit, and in a very good way, because he explained a lot of stuff, but one big thing that he emphasized is focusing on one thing, right? Focusing all your effort onto one thing, not trying to be scattered out all across a whole bunch of different things, because then you can't put your all effort into what you're doing. So what makes you think that you're going to beat somebody who's actually putting all their effort into one thing when you have your mind scattered into all these different things? So that helped me to be able to kind of recognize and break apart things that are not part of what needs to be in my life right now. When it comes to different businesses or different ideas that I've had, I had to kind of narrow it down to the chosen few little things that I want to be doing consistently and to be able to grow. And then from there, I can grow out from that point. But I had to really cut off a lot of things that I was wasting my time on and really put emphasis on the specific things that I wanted to be important in my life. And that took for me to do some reflecting and figure out exactly what is it that I wanted to go move towards. Because there's another thing where he was mentioning, I'm trying to remember the exact words, but he said people try to find their passion or find their purpose, but why don't you just make it? Instead of trying to find it, make it. Make your purpose, make your passion. So it helped me to kind of put into perspective what I'm doing. And obviously also one thing that stuck out to me and that I kind of had to really reconfigure my mind about is realizing that the path is first of all, it's not going to be easy, which I always say. And second of all, it's not meant to be fast. Right? Nowadays, with social media and everything going on, everybody expects things very quickly, right? Everything is supposed to happen immediately. Instant gratification, that's what everybody's looking for nowadays. But if it was that easy, there'd be a lot more people who are successful in whatever they're doing. So that kind of changed my perspective and realizing it makes sense, right? It's not meant to be easy. It's not meant to happen fast. You got to break past that barrier. And there was like a chart thing he went over. I don't want to go over all of his stuff because this is his. If you want to look for this yourself, then then you could look up his stuff, because he's spoken about it in a few different videos. I've watched a few different ones, just seeing what he's speaking about. And honestly, his advice is great. If you're somebody that's business oriented or trying to do something in your life, it's a great person to watch. But another thing he mentioned is about, I'm not going to go into the full details, but within every business or everything that you're doing, every venture that you take, there's always like a dip. There's always that, what he called like the valley of death, where it's that time where, do I want to keep going with this? Like, what is even the purpose? Nothing. I've been working so hard and nothing's happening. This is the kind of stuff that happens. Then you got to be able to get over that dip, right? You got to be able to break past that and not allow that to stop you. You got to be able to push past that dip and that boundary where you feel like quitting. And that's where success is made. The ones who are successful are able to push past that dip, while the ones who are not, they ended up falling at that dip, and then they go on to the next venture, their next thing, and the same cycle continues over and over again. So that's one thing that me personally, I've noticed that's happened to me a lot, right? With a lot of different ventures that I've started in the past, a lot of times that exact thing has happened to me, where I start something, I'm enthusiastic about it, hit that valley of death, and boom, I'm like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore, switch on to something else, and the same cycle keeps continuing and continuing and continuing. So that's one thing that I picked up as well. Like, if you're going to start something and you truly want it to be successful, you got to stick with it no matter what. Keep learning, keep working, keep pushing, and you got to push past it. You got to keep going no matter what. And that's when success will come to you in whatever form it takes for you. So it takes for you to keep pushing in that manner. And that's one thing that I had to kind of reflect on myself in my life and figure out where I've been falling at, and really figuring it out. What is it that I need to do, right, to keep pushing and to push those boundaries and to keep going. So, yeah, there's just been a lot of stuff, a lot of life changes coming, and it's giving me a lot of things to reflect about and figure out what's really going on. And honestly, that's one of the biggest things. If there's one thing that you take away from this, I feel like a lot of people nowadays, especially, they have a lot of different avenues of so many things that they want to do, right? Where you see everything on social media, everything's the glitz and glamour of everything, and everybody just wants to kind of do everything at the same time. They want instant fame, instant gratification, instant money. They want instant everything. But you got to realize, first of all, you need to narrow everything down into a specific thing that you're doing, right? If it's business-wise, you need to narrow it down to one specific business that you're going to focus on and grow, no matter how hard it is and how the process is. And also, if it's other ventures in your life, I don't know, if it's a spiritual venture, if it's a relation adventure, whatever it is, you need to really focus down to one goal and really put all your effort into it, because that's the way you create success. The people who've had the most success, I'm talking more so business-wise, but the people who have had the most success are the ones who were able to push past the dip, like I spoke to you about, and also they're the ones who had the ultimate focus. They were obsessed with what they were doing and pushing. That's another thing that's kind of stuck with me as of recent. Listening to like motivational videos and stuff like that, you got to be obsessed. You got to be like borderline obsessed with what you're doing, right? That's how you beat everybody in that market. That's how you beat everybody in that system, right? You can't work the same amount of hours they're doing. If they're working 8 hours, you got to work 10, 12 hours. Like you gotta work harder than them and do more and have more output than them if you want to be able to surpass them, right? Because if you do the same amount of work as the other person in your field, then you're always just going to stay right there in line with what they're doing, because you guys are putting in the same amount of work. But if you're willing to put in more work and to put in more effort and to put up more output, then what's going to happen? Sooner or later, you're going to surpass your competition. So that's what it comes down to. How much work, how much output are you willing to put in? And that's something I had to really reflect on myself and really reflect, how much am I willing to put in to be successful? Because a lot of people aren't willing to put in enough. Am I willing to put in enough? I don't know yet. But guess what? I'm going to keep pushing and make sure that I put up as much as I possibly can and stay consistent, right? Consistency is one of the biggest things that that'll make or break anybody. If you're not consistent, you will never be successful in anything. So that's something that I've had to understand and really had to put into practice, because my consistency has sucked in the past, 100%. So with that being said, I've had to make a lot of life changes around, and I don't know, maybe at another time we'll go over more of the details behind everything that's happening in my life right now. But right now I just wanted to make it kind of vague and push out those certain little things where I'm like trying to flip my life around, right? There's a lot of things that I haven't been doing that I know I need to be doing, and I haven't been doing them. There's a lot of things that I knew I shouldn't be doing that I've been doing. So it just takes flipping your life around. And I feel like one of the quickest bases of your life that you can flip around and really focus on is when it comes to taking care of your body, right? Your eating habits, going to the gym, exercise, whatever it is. I feel like that's one of the easiest ways to be able to really build up the fundamentals, right? Because if you learn how to weight lift, even if you don't want to do it, you get up and go to the gym even if you don't want to go. You're constantly pushing your body even when it hurts. I feel like it builds up a tolerance, and it builds up an ability to just lock in like nothing else, right? When you're pushing that heavy weight that you're like, this thing is barely going up, but you're forcing that last rep that's barely moving, but you're still going up and everything. It allows you to kind of unlock a different part of your mentality, a different part of your brain. I don't know how to say it, but it helps you unlock just a different mentality, a different grit, a different way to lock in, and that ability to just, no matter what happens, you keep pushing and pushing and just kind of tunnel vision on the goal and tunnel vision on what you're doing. And I feel like that's one of the key fundamentals on being able to build that mentality, because you're going to need that for anything in your life, whether it comes to business, whether it comes to, I don't know. To be honest, right now, my head's just all over the place. Only thing I think of is business, right? When it comes to business, you're going to have that ability to lock in. And I feel like having that fitness background, it allows you to be able to have that mentality like no other. So any advice that I have, if you haven't been doing anything, you've been a couch potato, you've been keeping it real, very lazy. The only reason I can say that is because I've been that. I've been that 100% a lot of the time. Get up and do what you got to do, right? Put in the work, and keep pushing. Because at the end of the day, as a man, no one's gonna help you, right? You can't be having the expectation of looking for help and looking for somebody to save you out of your situation. You yourself gotta push and get yourself out of that situation. As simple as that. As a man, you're supposed to be the provider. You're supposed to be the one who's pushing, working everything you can. If you want to be a masculine man, then that's what you got to be. That's the mentality that you got to have. So it takes having good habits and establishing good things around your life in order to be able to do that. So like I said, this one's a little bit shorter, but that's kind of just what I have. Maybe next time I'll go into more depth of what's happening in my personal life, and just more of what's actually going on and what I need to do and what I'm pushing to do and what I'm trying to work towards. And sorry about all the background noise, but yeah, anyways, if this is your first time listening, I appreciate you for tuning in. If you're a returning listener, I appreciate it. And this one's probably not going to come out until Tuesday. That's when it should come out. But for the most part, I had to decide 100%, but Mondays is the day that I'm planning to be able to put these out. So, anyways, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, follow, whatever it is. I don't know what platform you're watching on. I have this on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. If you guys want it somewhere else, just let me know and I'll put it there too. But yeah, that's it for today. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next week. Peace.